Hello and welcome to Master Edison Format. This is the channel for you to get better at Edison. And today we're going kind of back in time, back in the archives, and we're going to go over the World Championship from 2024. Of course, at that time I didn't have a channel yet, so this is all kind of looking back on an event that's happened over a year ago and kind of trying to learn from it, trying to see kind of how the best players in the game play and kind of how the certain matchups played out. And we're going to go over kind of the tournament, and then I want to spend a good amount of time over not so much the deck list, but mostly on the replays and kind of seeing how the various players played. So in terms of the tournament, like, you have so many good players here. You have I think I checked also the rounds, the Swiss rounds. You have Pro Storm, you have Aris there on the Frogo TK, the inventor of Frogo TK, maybe Televisor, great player. Samo Pusteno, great player, known for both Blackwings and Vayu. Televisor, known for Vayu. And just overall a lot of good players Cup for Life. I mean, there was even Beast Mode, I think his name, like, he was in Zombies, he participated in the World Championship. Just a lot of really good players. In terms of the deck list, like, we're gonna just quickly go over it here. You see there's basically a lot of Blackwings and Vayu Turbo, 3 Vayus and 3 Blackwings, and then 1 Diva Hero and 1 Frogo TK. No Hero Frog, interestingly. And just Frogo TK, which, by the way, in the Swiss rounds, Aristar was 7-0, went 7-0, and so was basically undefeated in the Swiss. And then unfortunately he lost to Samu Pusteno in the top 8. And I mean, I'm not gonna go over the deck list too in detail, but you do see some interesting things. Like here you see the list with like double Kairos, double Deck Devi, no Solemn. This is similar to the Scissor 41, and kind of that's like the one I always reference, but it has one less hamster, which, like, I think is a good change overall. No Judgment, which I always like Soren, but okay, that's my personal opinion. Second was Club for Life with Vayu Turbo with Elfin and Deck, and not only Deck Devastation virus, but basically the other one, what do you call it, the virus that takes spells or traps, which is 25, which for if you have to tribute a 2500 or more attack monster. So I guess like it fits with the Elfin stuff. 3 Greffers, 2 Armanite, like no Hamster, 2 Raikos, no Charge. Just interesting. It's like two quite different takes on Vayu Turbo, I would say. Like, you know, it looks like very small changes, but it actually changes a lot of how the deck plays. Like only 1 Kairos because you don't have the hamster to support it, you only have 2 Raiko. You don't even have Cow Sorcerer in here because you only have 2 Rights and other great ways to get them. Yeah, I would say though, I disagree with cutting Charge. Even if you're paying just 2 Raikos, like, Charge is such a strong card, like, to set up your plays. Like, just the free milling, like, you don't even need to search something with Charge. Just the milling is so good, and then of course, like, you get to search most of the time, but yeah, I feel like Charge is kind of like a trooper that doesn't waste your normal summon. So I just think if you're playing trooper, you should play a card like that. And yeah, interesting to see 3 Deep Prison in the main. This virus, I think I've never seen this in Vayu Turbo in the main. The second virus. So okay, cool. Third, Samo Pusteno on Blackwing. Like, he's known for playing Vayu and Blackwing. He's a very good player on the you know, you see him active on DB Ladder often. He's playing this Blackwing list with double Vayu. He has, well, nothing too interesting except Oppression in the main and that one virus in the main. Everybody was playing virus basically. Even here you have another Blackwing by Dark Tracy, only 2 Icarus, which is interesting to me. Oh, this is a Blackwing Vayu really, because he's playing 3 Vayu, 3 Sirocco. He has 2 Greffers, 1 Arma. He has the Deck Heavy. Yeah, this is a hybrid, so it's kind of in between the two. And then you have here another Blackwing. This is a standard Blackwing with double Vayu, double Oppression, and this Dark Illusion. This is 41 card Vayu Turbo. This is again interesting with the 2 draw traps, Cold Wave, a lot of like spicy stuff, to be honest, in this list. And I think that's kind of how, like, the top players try to get an advantage. They try to you know, put some different cards that can be a big payoff if your opponent is not expecting them. And and then you have Diva Hero here, and you have Frogo TK. which again, I mean, Arisder basically is the one who pioneered this deck, probably invented this deck, and he's probably the best player of Forgo TK in the world. And I mean, you can see from like his results as well. Yeah, in terms of the metagame, we kind of went over it. You see, there's mostly Vayu Turbo, Blackwing, very few Elo Frogs. Usually you see a few more of those. 5 Machina Control, 3 Forgo, 2 Forgo TK, basically only Arisder and another player. And then yeah, the rest of the stuff. And then in top decks, yeah, 3 Vayu, 3 Blackwing, 1 Forgo TK, 1 Diva Hero. And yeah, let's go into some of the replays and see how the players played. So we're starting with the quarterfinals. We have Tervisher versus Simon Turner, and he's on Vayu Turbo against, it looks like a mirror match, yeah, another Vayu Turbo. He gets 2 stars, goes for a lure, sets the hamster and deep prison. Here he's going to go into Armanite, and like everybody, like setting hamster is quite good, especially if your opponent is going to Armanite into it. This is a classic Vayu Turbo play, set 1, set Raikou, and the Armanite is one of the best things to kind of crash into it, because you already got your search, so it's not so bad to lose this. But when they hit the hamster, it feels really bad, because now you can drop a Kaios on them, like now you don't even waste your Raikou. So like this is a perfect start for Tervisher. Yeah, Kaios is this, does the damage, and like he has a terrible hand, to be honest, so it wouldn't have changed a lot anyway. Here again, he tries to waste the Raikou. Also he tries to waste the Raikou with the Vayu, and gets deep prison, which is pretty punishing. And now to survive, he has to set 3 and hope that the Raikou doesn't hit the good card. Goes for the Raikou. I mean, it's random now because all 3 were set together. Hits the deep prison, and now goes for Prey, goes for Stardust. Can't get bottomless. Goes for Graphics. Also can't get bottomless. There's a deep prison there. Now yeah, Stardust. Basically to survive, you have to bottomless this. Because if you don't, you're dead anyway, so you have to deep prison the Armwing. Stardust comes back, but you're still not in a great position. Goes for Catastor, lets it get banished, then return. Yeah, this is everything is cooked. With return, it's just the nail in the coffin. It would have probably been game without it, but I mean, that just made sure. So here we go, charge into Lyra. Interesting, not everybody plays Lyra in here. I like it because it's first of all, it's a end phase mill rather than hoping your opponent doesn't Kaios your Raikou mill, which if you're going first is fine, but if you're going second, that's really important. And then second of all, this is better going second in my opinion than Raikou going first. But you know, I know a lot of Vayu players disagree with this, so gets dash through that, takes the Raikou. Now he knows about the goals, so that's something to keep in mind for the rest of the game. He doesn't really have an out to it, but so he doesn't attack. He has a deep prison now. Now he hits this. I don't know if I love the Lyra effect, because you have Lyra on the field. You've seen, I believe you've seen the MST, or maybe not. I don't remember if a prison return. Yeah, you've seen the MST. So there's a very high chance that the card he said is MST. It could also be something else, but yeah, I guess you're trying to push your prey, and if that's a deep prison or a mirror force, then it punishes you. But you kind of prayed into the MST. I don't think it's really gonna hurt him so much in this case, but you could have gotten 1700 damage more. So you know, I think you could probably read that was MST. Here again, this Lyra, you see, that's the other thing. Like if in some games the Lyra survives, this milled them already 6 or 9 cards already, and like the Raikou only mills you 3 cards. Like I think there's a lot of situations where the Lyra is actually, you know, better. So it gets to mill 3 more, and now Brain controls the Lyra. Now it can change position, pops the Mirror Force, attacks with the Gores, sets 2, gets to mill with the opponent's Lyra, and yeah, he has a Mirror Force set 2. He used the effect too, so now he can't change the position. Now halves this, goes to attack, and tries to attack, and I think it's gonna get deep prison here. He does have return potentially to come back, but now the game is not so clear, because yeah, so he hits the return, which is unfortunate, but I guess if he used the return, he could have been dead there. So prisons this Armwing. The Lyra keeps mirroring. Now it's getting to a point where he's milled so much that he might deck out at some point, but anyway, he sets 1, he mills 3 more. Now all he has to do is basically survive 1 more turn. I don't know if I love like hitting this attacking the Lyra, because if you just wait for the Lyra to mill, like you basically win next turn, but I guess you don't want to hit the Raikou or anything. Like, I mean, yeah, let's see. I don't know. I think, yeah, it's probably correct to attack it, but like I almost kind of want to see the, you know, winning by decking out here. But because yeah, the Lyra is gonna mill everything, and then yeah, there's no really way. You have to synchro with the Lyra with the Prey Exploder, which he can do. so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, Dark Armed, Prio, hits both. You see how even the best players, when they Prio, they hit the monster first, because I mean, okay, here was a Vayu, but this could have been a Raikou. The one reason you can say for not hitting the monster first, hitting the back row first, if you have a strong read that they have my body as a shield, then that's the one situation in which you want to hit the back row first. But in general, like if you have, you know, when you summon something like a Dark Arm, you want to Prio and you want to hit the monster first. So he destroys the monster first and then goes for the back row, because if there was a bottomless set, then you don't want to target the bottomless, and then bottomless is chained, you don't even get to pop the monster, you want to get value as much as possible. Here we have actually a good play from him. He has one card left in deck. He can go for Brio. He can basically go for game. Yeah, and he wins game 2. Kind of crazy. He had one card left in deck at one point. Basically saw the whole deck. Very grindy game. And here, very well played by Silent Hunter. He's expecting this to be a Raikou, so he only sets Yata. Doesn't set Deep Prison into it. You know, I mean, pretty common heads up play, but yeah, basically doesn't give him value of the Raikou. He, you know, again, you could argue like a lot of times if you're setting a Raikou and you see your opponent just set one, or especially if your opponent knows it's a Raikou from a charge, you might not want to always flip it here, and you might want to just to be more patient. Here though, he's going all in. He's going for the Greffer, activates the Vayu. He pitches the Crow to get rid of the Sirocco, but there is another Armageddon Knight, and now he's gonna take a ton of damage. And here, like, you know, he really committed. Like, he has a way to come back with the Sirocco and the Chaos Sork. However, he is on the back foot, and so now he has to really find something. It doesn't mill great. Like, this is, if he milled better, he might have had a chance. Here he clashes this, Lyra goes with Chaos Sorcerer to banish the Roundwing, but the Kaios is here. He does have a Deep Prison, but he's dead to either monster, so that's just game. And yeah, cool mirror match. I mean, I think you really see that like game 3, it really came down a little bit to how they mirrored, but also more importantly, you know, he just had the more aggressive draw visual, and he just took it and went to attack, and like, you know, the opponent couldn't quite come back. He had Chaos Sorcerer, but unfortunately didn't mirror any rights. He kind of had a slower draw, and yeah, didn't really have a chance to come back. He tried to make a comeback, but yeah, the game 2 was crazy, with the Lyra staying on the field so long that he almost decked out. In next quarterfinals we have Shamwow on Diva Hero and Skillful Life on Vayu Turbo. Diva Hero starts off with the Stratos, searching for Malicious. You have Ghost Sark, yeah, for the Future Fusion, and you have Phoenix Wing Windblast, which is another card that everybody expects. Like, for example, if the opponent went into a Stardust here, he would have run into it. But very well played by Skillful Life. Of course, this is open. I believe he knows the Decklists, or he probably he's seen the replay, so he knows that he plays this card. And so he goes for a Tartarus, which is a very heads-up play. This Phoenix Wing Windblast takes the set card and goes for Dark Hand to out the Tartarus. You could have potentially even gone for something else, but okay, Dark Hand works now. The Greffer is gonna make the Armor Master is gonna attack, and yeah, now he's down to nothing, but he does have Dark Arm Dragon, and unfortunately for Skillful Life, there is the Sorim. Sorim is probably the perfect answer there. Sends to, yeah, not really what you were hoping. Attacks with the Armor Master, and the top deck's Kaios, and Kaios is basically game because he has the, yeah, he has the level 8 synchro that he can have access to, and so it's, I think, perfectly 50 to 100 damage. Game 2, Dashwood takes goals. He knows about it now. He has to set one, even though, you know, this is something probably not good. He has to set the Raikou and set Prison. It's unfortunate when you get Dashwood because your opponent plays with perfect information. Here also Stratos comes in, starts attacking. Like, he can just put him under a lot of pressure, and he's already down 4 cards to 7, so this is not a great start. Here he, I think, accidentally adds the Greffer, then adds the Gargna, and then he goes for the Greffer, pitch the Gargna, send the Vayu, and now he can attack over. So that's pretty good. Clears one of the monsters. The Crow though does hit the Gargna, and then the Tustonator hits the Prison, so now he's back kind of behind, and yeah, he's down to like a Kaios and the Gilman. The Gilman, yeah, he took all the damage at once. Now he tributes for Malicious to draw a card. as another Dust Tornado to hit the new set, because I think he knows this is the Eradicator. Interesting that this stayed in, because like he has both spells and traps. Like I don't know what you would call in this matchup, to be honest, and like you don't have so many targets. Yeah, now this is actually hurting you because you do the goals, and yeah, this is game. Yeah, so it's, yeah, the dash shoot really I think basically scripted the rest of the game. So he has the dash shoot, and you see how he's not using it. I like this a lot, because he could use it, and then he could e-call Rhoda into a Stratos anyway. And so I like this spray to hold it. I know it's not always correct, and I've been saying this I think for a while now, that like I don't think you should always dash shoot, like just immediately dash shoot, because especially in a solo match like this, now you have more information. If you dash shoot at turn 1, he will know you won't have the information from the next 2 draws. Here he goes for Greffer, goes for the Vayu, and doesn't commit into it. And here is where you see exactly the value. Here he does tornadoes, and imagine he had the goals here, and like he could have attacked and does tornadoes to drop the goals. The dash shoot could have taken the goals here, but it would have been even more broken. Takes the break spreader and got extra value out of the dash shoot, which is already a good card. Now Brain Control takes the Greffer, the Raikou pops the back row, and then gets tributed for Cyber Dragon. I don't know if I love that play, but you don't really want to leave him with the Greffer, and I guess like you're afraid of the Deep Rhythm. Dark Arm comes down, yeah, Oppression gets MST, it sets 1 more. He banishes for the Iron Wing, summons the Elfin, yeah, and it's just game. The Dark Arm really won the game. He went for it very confidently. He didn't even think about popping the back row, because if he does hit the Phoenix Wing Blast, then this is gonna put the Dark Arm back on top. So I think that's like an next level read, that this is a Phoenix Wing, because otherwise he would have tried. Again, most players there just banish the Vayu and Sirocco to pop the Phoenix Wing, and but Scarf for Life, he just trusted his read, and figured out that this was chainable. So if he would have done that, he wouldn't have closed the game right now. So very high level lead, very impressive, and yeah, well played by him. The next replay we have Masahiro against Dark Tracy. I have a feeling from that Dark Tracy's on Vayu Turbo or Vayu Blackwing hybrid against, this is just a Blackwings. So we have the Blackwing starts with just sending echoes. This is a common start, because you don't want to summon your he can't summon your Sirocco. You don't want to just set a monster, because like Greffer here could have just attacked the monster and then Echoes is dead. And next turn he wants to summon Sirocco, and if it gets bottomless or Deep Prison, you chain the Echoes. So I think this is a very common play by Blackwings. I don't love setting 2 here. Okay, you have the dash shoot, so makes sense. Takes the Sirocco, but if that wasn't a chainable one, I wouldn't set 2, simply because if you Deep Prison the monster, then he could have chained Echoes to prop Greffer and the set card. But like this, it's just a 1-for-1. If you want to Echoes, it's just a 2-for-2. You don't really lose anything else from it. So sets 2 here again. I don't know. This is kind of bluffy. He attacks to try to get something out, and like, of course doesn't fall for it. Here the Deck Devi comes in though, and doesn't take anything here. There's a Dark Illusion set, which is a little bit awkward, and yeah, it's just game. Yeah, I don't know. Dark Illusion is one of those decks which is, when it does pay off, it's crazy. When it doesn't, it's kind of Here we have a set Raikou, which I'm guessing this comes in from the side. I don't think he's playing this in the main, because this is the hybrid deck. Interesting to see, and I think it kind of works out here in the sense that like he attacks right into it with the Shura, I think probably not expecting it. Yeah, he's probably a little bit surprised by it, because I don't think, otherwise you maybe would have attacked just with the Bora, or I guess no, you still attack with the Shura. In the options it's not hit. Now attacks with the Bora, gets the Whirlwind, gets MST, the Sirocco is gonna attack over, but now you have the Sirocco batter, or I guess you can go for Shura as well. Gets Deep Prison, gets the Deep Prison out. Here he attacks. I don't think you need to Mirror Force yet, because now you have your own Sirocco, and now this attacks over. Garna negates, and yeah, this is like Sirocco versus Sirocco battle. Has to get Mirror Force. Here he attacks, only gives him a 1-for-1 with the Mirror Force. I think that's also where you see it. A lot of the best players play carefully, in the sense of like they don't play into Torrential, they don't play into Mirror Force so well, and I mean the very best even play around stuff like Deep Prison, and all kinds of things like that. So you see they usually don't give him a 2-for-1 trade. Sometimes they do, like here the mirror force is out, you know, he can only have torrentially, and he just goes for the game. He's like you don't have torrential, I'm gonna attack with the deep prison, and yeah, like I'm gonna attack into the deep prison. If he deep prison he can, but if he doesn't, then you have the Karut to finish the game. So very well played by Dr. and by Masahiro. I think this is one of the things that I think catches people off guard about this Vayu Blackwing mix, is like the Karuts is something you don't usually see in Vayu, but here you're gonna see the you never see in Vayu in normal, but in this Blackwing version you can get like these random kills just thanks to Karut. In the next quarterfinals, we have two really good players. We have Aris there, and then Samo Pusteno. I mean, every player here is quite good, but like they're known for resorts. And here we have the Hero Frog, the Frog OTK. Samo Pusteno is on Blackwing, starts off with the Whirlwind, which is good. Sets the Icarus. I think he knows about this matchup. Otherwise, against most players, he wouldn't do it. Like if he's playing against Vayu or Blackwing, like he's not gonna do this because the opponent can just summon Shura and attack over the Karut and just feels horrible. So I think this is specifically playing for this matchup because yeah, Arizal's deck does spam the board and the Icarus is gonna come in. So gets a Missteed, 1-for-1 into Substitute. It's interesting, he pitches the Fishbowl Bastard, not the Dandy. Oh, this calls the Dandy for the, okay, I guess, yeah. This calls the Dandy for the Fishbowl Bastard. Now, yeah, now this is already not looking great because he can do all kinds of things. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here. Goes for double Death Frog, goes for Brio, brings this back, goes for the swapping, he attacks, doesn't play around. I mean, I guess he can't play around another Karut, but I don't think he's playing around it. He just goes for it, and is this already game? No, it's not quite game yet. Goes for basically the triple Duproc and the flip-flop frog, swap in hand. Yeah, here is where like you kind of, I don't know what exactly, you have to go into some type of Brionac bounce everything play. Yeah, this is the typical thing you see in these like Blackwing versus Frog OTK matchups. Yeah, you kind of have to just bounce everything, and doesn't feel great, but of course it's better than just losing. So this happens, gets a Death Frog back, and now he has, again, it looks like the start of the game, he has 6 cards, now he can do this again. Black Rose, yeah, I mean, just doesn't feel great, so yeah, it's game. Yeah, not really too sure what else he could have done there, and you see this very often with Blackwing to out the whole dupe rock and like this, not just the dupe rock, the triple dupe flip rock rock, you need a Brionac basically. And yeah, here he starts off with a dash shoot, set 4, I guess. Yeah, he has a Pull in the Rug, he has Deck Heavy, he has Sorum. He doesn't have good monsters yet, so take Substitute, Pulling the Rugs, the swap. He knows about the hand, he sees the Avarice, Treeborn, MST dupe. This is not a very good hand for frogs, and now here he starts doing damage. He can take the last card with the Deck Heavy, and here I feel like, given what you know, you might want to use it before, because now you do get in the value of like you do give in the value from the dupe. But I guess, yeah, dupe searches, so no, it's fine. You don't need to use it before. Does more damage. Yeah, he's gonna set another dupe, so even Deck Heavy here is not great. It's good, it takes 4 cards, but he's gonna get to search a card back, but it's fine. I mean, here, yeah, the Sirocco is gonna make this bigger, and I guess he couldn't really go for game. Yeah, I guess he tried to attack for Sirocco and he forgot. Swap sends this, the Fishbowl Bastard comes in, now he avarices. Yeah, I guess you don't want to saw him here or anything. He's very patient on this MST here as well, which is, I think, is the way it should be, because yeah, like, the only thing you really want to MST here is a Sorum. Here sets 4, a lot of buffs, but yeah, it's just game. It doesn't really need to, they're not playing, so I think the game before was before the conversion, because we didn't see Kaios, we didn't see Breakers, and so what the Frog OTK deck does, it does convert into basically a different deck. It looks like a Dream Frog deck, and so we didn't see the conversion, so he just attacked because he figured out there are not going to be any battle traps there. And that's kind of the mini game. Like after side, you don't know if the Frog OTK is going to become the Breaker Kaios deck or if it's going to be the same combo deck. So you kind of have to side differently in those cases. The Pouring the Rug is very good against the conversion deck because it stops Kaio, stops Breaker, stops Swap, and it's decent against the normal deck. It's not great because it basically only stops Swap. Here it goes for Tribon, goes for Kaios. Pouring the Rug is a perfect answer there. Sets Raigeki. He has double sub in hand, so like this is gonna be, if he doesn't get killed out the gate so quickly, he could be in trouble. But he's already taking a ton of damage here. Yeah, you might want to Raigeki this to stay alive, but no, he decides to wait because if he can do the combo, he's gonna survive. So here Raigeki hits one of the back rows. Treeborn comes back. Swap comes in. Swap sends another Treeborn sub, gets solemned, and this is just game. Yeah, he had the perfect answer for the sub. And if there's any kind of learning lesson there, is that you see how powerful sub is. You just need to solemn it, whatever it costs you. If you stop the sub, they can't do all the basically everything they want to do. And yeah, here it was over because the unwin could just attack for piercing them. It was just gonna be over anyway. The only way this game could have continued is if the sub basically set up a triple like dupe frog loop and he didn't have an answer for it. So here we have a semifinals between Samo Pustenu on Blackwings and Television on Vayu Turbo, and starts with the Raikou set 1, very classic Vayu Turbo start. The Samo Pustenu sets 3 and passes, and here just so you know, like he has, this is, even if this was into heavy, he has a way to chain to the heavy, he has a way to pop stuff, so it's, it makes sense setting 3 as well. He's also playing under Raikou most likely, so he doesn't want to set like all 2 of the 3 are chainable. But here basically very kind of heads up. MST is in hand phase, so it's not chainable, of course. Raikou hits one of them, and the reason for MST in hand phase, by the way, is that it sets up this Raikou on Icarus, because Icarus can be chained because there was no 2 targets, and then the Trooper gets to attack as well. One thing to notice though is that if you look at his hand, he has a very monster heavy hand, and here everything gets hit by deck heavy, and draws a charge, but all 3 Raikous are already in the grave. So basically this is the best deck heavy I've ever seen against Vayu Turbo. Like he hits all 5 cards, like he happened to have all 5 like small monsters in hand, all the Raikous, and then also draws the charge. Here this gets Deep Prison, draws a lure, the opponent draws Karut. Yeah, you don't really want to lure here because your opponent can check for the cards you draw from a lure as well. Here the Goyo, basically the Goyo takes the Greffer, and then Greffer sets up the prey with the Sirocco. He allures into, he has to banish the gear, otherwise it gets banished. So yeah, here just the thing, the deck heavy checks again at resolution. It doesn't check while the allure is being used, so you can still banish your small monster. Here goes for Armor Master, just as some protection. He has too many things in the grave for the Dark Arm, but he does have brain control to win the game. So yeah, pretty good outcome there, considering everything considered. Game 2, Samo Pustenu starts off here just as a Deep Prison. Rhoda goes for the Armageddonite. Interesting to see that he doesn't go like all in for the Greffer, and the reason for this is that number one, it's not like he can do maybe 4,000 damage unless your opponent has gold and Deep Prison. Number two, if you use your Sirocco, then you don't have your own Sirocco to which is in this matchup is one of the best cards in the matchup, and so you don't really want to discard this. And then number three, if you don't send the Garna here, then your opponent can just Shura and attack over the Armageddonite, and then you're not in a great position. So here he attacks, sets 2, the Blizzard comes down, Gale comes down. Yeah, kind of awkward hand for Blackwings that he has to use Blizzard and Gale. Interesting though that he decided not to summon the Sirocco because I think he's holding it for the opponent's Sirocco. So you see how, like, in order not to give up his Sirocco, he was willing to give up, basically Blizzard and Gale to make this play. Hits the dash shoot in end phase, which is very, very good, very good hit. And then Sirocco comes down, and the Bora comes down, and the attacks basically he here again doesn't use the effect. There's no reason to. There's not because there's a Gardener in the grave, and on top of that you would also be playing into potentially a Deep Prison. MST is the Deep Prison. Finally summons Sirocco. Sirocco it's a huge monster here. Yeah, does a ton of damage, and now he has Bottomless set. It's not looking great. He does have a way to come back potentially, but Yeah, takes the damage here. He decides not to attack with the Bora, because that would have made him vulnerable to a Sirocco basically for the win. So I decides not to attack with it. I don't know if I love that break. I think if you have this, if he has a Sirocco, you lose anyway, and you're playing into the bottomless anyway. And now no Prio. Then he bounces after the Gardener is used. He sets the Raikou. Now again, I think he most likely has to bounce. Decides not to bounce, and the Raikou does hit the Shura. He takes damage. And Grefur is gonna send 2 for Houndwing. So if he would have played a bit, it wouldn't have been game, even if he played a little bit more aggressively. But he does have the return, and it just game. Yeah, the return is gonna be game there. But yeah, I mean, kind of crazy game. They were both on very low life, and like, you know, you see that like at the end of the day, these games get decided by like these a lot of times by these like one-off like bombs. Like, you know, it's whether it's Dark Count, whether it's goals, whether it's return. Like, it's those small things that like finding the one-off, the broken card at the right time that kind of gives you the edge in these games between very good players. Next we have Dark Tracy against Scrub for Life, and Dark Tracy is on the Blackwing Vayu hybrid, and he's playing Raikou in the main in this. Okay, cool. Trooper into Raikou doesn't feel great though. Like, Scrub for Life basically reads that this is a Raikou, goes for the Trooper. It's probably the best play in this situation. Does a card, and now his goals is also a little bit hidden. Yeah, so he summons the Houndwing, attacks into the goals, doesn't feel great, doesn't really have an out to it. He does have potentially the Karut, but he goes for Corrosor. Now the Raikou is set as well. Goes for Armor Master, here starts attacking. If he attacks into the Raikou, it's a bit unfortunate, but he's gonna have to attack into it anyway. Hits the set because he's going for some big play next turn. It looks like he decides to hit the set, the fake, the pro heavy storm that was set. So here goes for Vayu, goes for Houndwing, and then Icarus hits both. Interesting to do it on the summon. I tend to think why you would do it on the summon there. It's a little bit strange to me, and a little bit strange that the Raikou didn't kill the Crosser but killed the set card. But okay, I guess he was hoping to out the Icarus, but it was just a heavy storm. Yeah, here this is game if he doesn't have anything, which it doesn't look like he does. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, game 1 he just kind of got killed out of the gate with like, and I think one thing that is kind of missed in this Blackwing Vayu is that Blackwing Vayu has like a lot of powerful plays that normal Vayu doesn't have access to. It's a bit more inconsistent, you know, it doesn't always synergize so well, but it does have very powerful stuff you can do also with Whirlwind, with Greffers, and like you can do things that the Vayu Turbo, the normal Vayu Turbo can't quite do. Anyway, here there's Dust Tornado chained to the Vayu effect, it looks like, and then Greffer Armor Master get in. Yeah, here he's already he's already down. Wow, wait a second, he's already down to half life. Here Heavy comes in, and the chain is this Eradicator hitting all the traps, which hits 3 traps, or I think it hits 3 traps out of the hand, which is, wow, it's quite good value from it, and it's gonna keep hitting the traps. The Kaiko does get to banish stuff from the grave though, which is good. Setsu draws another trap. The Armageddonite now sends the Gardener as protection. The Kaiko does get more damage in. The Stash Shoot here is not great, but he does go for Kairos. Kairos banishes, and this should be enough. This should be enough for game. Yeah, he knows the hand, so it's just gonna be game. Here, yeah, we have. Just in this specific case, you saw the Eradicator be absolutely broken. Here he loses. He was hoping to draw a piece and another Dark Monster, but he has to give away his Greffer. Dark Tracy does have Whirlwind in, Shura, Whirlwind into Shura to search. It looks like he searched Blizzard. Cyber Dragon attacks over, and then sets 4. He has Solemn set. Whirlwind does search him another Vayu, and now he can go for Brio. He can pitch double Vayu if he wanted to, but he bounces 1 card, and he was trying to hit the Solemn so that his Judgment Dragon will come down. Unfortunately, he couldn't hit it, and now, yeah, the Giant Dragon gets solemned. You know, it costs over 3100 life, but you know you would have lost the game otherwise. Cyber Dragon tries to attack, gets Mirror Force. Kaiko gets Deep Prison. So you're trading back and forth here. The Vayu comes in to attack, and yeah, you have this Vayu versus Vayu crashing. He's not drawing anything, and this is kind of what happens sometimes. You have like Garna, Whirlwind, Icarus, like these weird situations with the Blackwing Vayu where your deck is not quite so consistent. But to be honest, also Scarf for Life is drawing stuff that he can summon. So here he keeps he draws more taps, another Whirlwind. Like if he draws a Blackwing monster, like he's gonna be set, but he doesn't quite yet. So goes for the Armor Master. He uses Eradicator Virus. He decides to hit spells, which, like, considering that the Whirlwind has been on the field for a while and there's no monster, I don't know if you really care so much about the Whirlwind. If you would have called traps, you would have hit 4 of them. Yeah, he called spells. He even thought he called traps. He draw the Gale attack, Gale goes for an attack, he just Deep Prison. I think at this amount of life you want to just prison here. Sets Torrenture, in general this deck doesn't play that many spells, only plays 7 or 8. So Heavy's here, returns, goes for this, starts doing some damage. Here he has to set 1 and pass. Keeps drawing bad stuff, like with the Icarus you really want to draw something better. Here he gets attacked, gets Deep Prison. Yeah, the Gale goes into the Stardust. Stardust is decent, but if he drew just any monster, he could have... Like, he's decent because he knows about the Icarus, but it would have been good if he drew, like, any monster with the Karut. He keeps drawing, like, nothing, basically. Has to set 1. The Vayu attacks. Garna negates, and then, he has to attack with Stardust. Karut attacks here, gets Deep Prison, has to solemn here, and here is basically the only way you can, like, save the game. Stardust negates Bottomless, the Icarus can hit both, but the Starlight Road wins the game. Yeah, he was a little bit frustrated. He drew out traps. If he would have drawn any monster with a double Whirlwind, like, he would have been in a much better position. But this kind of, this is kind of the how do you call it? Like the variance of just playing these types of decks. Like you know, sometimes you have all these, like, these two engines that have to work together, and it doesn't always come together in that way. And here we go on to the finals. We have Scrap for Life and Televisor. Basically, Vayu Turbo mirror match with two very different takes on the game, on the list. I have to say, two very good players. They both have kind of their own tax in it, but I have to say, Scrap for Life's list is very spicy. Grapher attacks into the Raikou. Raikou is probably one of the best turn 1 stars for this deck. Doesn't mirror great, but still mirrors monsters. Now Armageddon Knight sends a Gardna and gets to attack, playing really carefully. Here he draws both of the Raikous he plays, which is not great in this situation where you're behind. Has to attack with the Armor Master, gets negated by Gardna. Kaius outs the Armor Master. Sorcerer outs the Kaius outs the Raikou. Sorcerer outs the Armor Master. And yeah, this doesn't feel great. Now Sorcerer gets to banish, summon the Plague Spreader, gets Torrentured, unfortunately. But he could have just summoned Plague Spreader first, and then after Brain Control he could have gone into Stardust, and Torrenture couldn't hit it. But of course, in that situation you do play into other stuff. But I feel like that would have been slightly safer. Raikou does get to kill the other Raikou and attack, and there's a Deep Prison set here since the beginning of the game, basically, still hasn't been used. Sioko gets to attack, now Raikou gets to hit the Deep Prison, and Raikou is great for clearing out back rows. It's like one of the aspects of this deck which is underrated. Goes for Armory Arm, and that's just game, that's enough with the damage from Armory Arm. Yeah. Now you have game 2. Starts off with the Greffer into a Vayu play, dash shoots. Yeah, here shows the hand. Greffer gets sent back, and Brain controls the other Greffer though, so he still gets his value out of it. Attacks, and now the Sirocco comes down. Here though, the Armageddon Knight is gonna send this. Not really sure what that was. That was put on top by the Plague Spreader zombie. Okay, so this got put on top. He plays that. I guess this is kind of the techie part. Like he plays that in order to use his viruses. Yeah, and okay, Skill Drain here negates the Raikou, and I mean this Vortex is gonna cook here, but he has Solemn, so this is just game most likely. Does attack with the on-wing, so it's not quite over yet. Okay, so top decks and Elfin starts attacking, and yeah, he's almost dead. Televisor, he top decks Mirror Force, which is kind of crazy. The Mirror Force absolutely hits him. He top decks a Kairos, which would have been crazy too, but it's not enough. And yeah, wow, he almost came back there. That was actually much closer than anticipated. And almost came back. So here he, again, very tricky play. I mean, he doesn't have a Raikou in hand, otherwise he probably would have set it. But tricky play, he sets a Garna. It's the best one to set just because of the defense, and then this Vayu just attacks into it. Now he can roll that for Greffer. There's a Heavy Storm set, which is not getting any value here so far. Yeah, gets to attack. You have Sirocco and Vayu in the grave, but you don't really want to play into stuff. He realizes that he's not going to get that much value out of the Heavy Storm. And I think this is a really cool tech, like having this for your viruses, but then also with the Skill Drain, this becomes basically a normal summon, basically 2800 monster. So, I mean, this is pretty cool tech. Summons this, gets to attack. Now he goes for the Armageddon, decides to Skill Drain, which I think is wise. He does have the out, he does have the MST. Then he can summon the Onwing, and now Greffer can do his thing. Like he's kind of in trouble. If that's nothing, he might get destroyed. But he correctly decides to go for it. Doesn't really have a way to answer this. So yeah, here it's just gonna be game. Goes for it and he's rewarded. And the Televisor is the world champion. So I hope you guys got some value out of this video. I hope you saw kind of a little bit about how the best players play. I didn't go in every moment in a ton of detail, but you do see how they play carefully in certain moments, and then when they need to go for the win, they go for it. And that's kind of like the difference. I think one of the main difference between great players and like good players, average players, is just being able to recognize the right time to make your push. You see a lot of players either go aggressive too often or like in the wrong moment, and they get punished by torrential, heavy, stuff like that, or Mirror Force and stuff like that, or sometimes they play too passively, and then they give the opponent more draws and more opportunities to go and win the game, and they sometimes respect the opponent's back row too much. So very well played by Televisor, Scuffwipe, everybody that's been featured in here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to get better at Edison, and I'll catch you in the next one.